Sri D. Raja?
Yes, yes, yes.
Only one D. Raja then, only one king.
Thank you, sir. I rise to oppose this bill. Sir, RRBs, regional rural banks, were started by the government in 1975. Then the act was enacted in 1976 with a view to exclusively serve the rural India and the agricultural economy. Today, the RRBs have been sponsored by nationalized banks along with central and state governments. Therefore, the RRBs are 100% in public sector today, 100% in public sector. Sir, RRBs are effectively helping the rural economy despite all difficulties and constraints. There are about 50 RRBs with about 15,000 branches in India. I said about. And RRBs have to be strengthened further in the given situation and emerging situation in the country. When government talks about financial inclusion, RRBs have to be strengthened because they work in rural areas. Recently, Prime Minister Modi observed that the banks should be sympathetic to the poor farmers. But his government is bringing a bill to allow 49% private capital in RRBs. It is your government. On one side, you talk about financial inclusion. On the other hand, you bring private players into the banking sector. In RRBs, you are going to allow 49% private capital. Sir, this is double standard. This is a very disastrous move, and government should think over. Do not dilute. My suggestion or my urge upon you is you should not dilute the capital in RRBs. Rather, RRBs should be merged with the sponsor nationalized banks. If RRBs have problem, you will have to merge them. That is the demand of trade unions also. That is the demand of employees union also. RRBs must be merged with the sponsor nationalized banks. Allowing 10% shareholder to have one director is going to be a disastrous one, and it is going to impact adversely the lending policy, credit policy of RRBs. So I urge upon the government, good sense should prevail upon you. You will have to defer this bill, and this is not the way to help our rural economy, to help our poor people living in rural areas. So I urge upon the government, you give a thought, sympathetic thought to the conditions, the plight of farmers, the poor people living in rural areas, and defer this bill. This, you may have any intention, but finally this will end up handing over RRBs to private players, which is not in the interest of the country, in the interest of economy. That is my point, sir.
Thank you.